She had everything: money, fame, millions of fans. But behind the cameras, Britney Spears was slowly losing control of her life. This is the tragic downfall of America's biggest pop icon. Imagine a small-town girl from Kentwood, Louisiana, with a voice that could command a room and a smile that could light up the world. Long before the headlines and the courtrooms, there was just Britney, a talented child who stepped onto the stage of the Mickey Mouse Club and instantly became a star. She was the picture of innocence, the girl next door that every teenager wanted to be and every parent approved of. But as her star rose, the weight of the world began to press down on her young shoulders, setting the stage for a tragedy no one saw coming. By the late 90s, the world was hers. With the release of Baby One More Time, Britney didn't just top the charts, she shifted the entire axis of pop culture. She was everywhere, on every magazine cover, every bedroom poster, and every television screen. Her work ethic was legendary, practicing choreography until her feet bled, always hitting the high notes with a wink and a smile. But this level of fame came with a hidden price tag. While she was performing for millions, her private life was becoming public property. Every move she made was analyzed by a hungry media, and the girl who just wanted to sing was becoming a product owned by labels, managers, and a global audience that couldn't get enough of her. The media's obsession with Britney was unlike anything we had seen before. Paparazzi didn't just follow her, they hunted her. Hundreds of photographers would surround her car, flashing bulbs blinding her as she tried to navigate a normal life. The questions from interviewers became increasingly invasive, focusing on her body, her virginity, and her relationships, rather than her talent. She was trapped in a glass house where everyone was throwing stones. We see and hear maintaining that famous smile, even as the cameras crowd her space. But if you look closely at her eyes, you can see the first flickers of exhaustion and fear. The narrative was being written by everyone except Britney herself, and the pressure was reaching a boiling point. The first real crack in the facade appeared during her high-profile breakup with Justin Timberlake. Suddenly, the America's Sweetheart narrative shifted to one of betrayal and scandal. The media painted her as the villain, and she was forced to defend herself against rumors while dealing with a broken heart. This wasn't just a breakup, it was a public execution of her character. She began to pull away, trying to find her own identity outside of the pop star persona. She was searching for something real in a world made of plastic, leading to impulsive decisions that the media used as fuel for their fire. The transition from girlhood to womanhood was happening under a microscope, and every mistake was magnified 1,000 times over. As the mid-2000s arrived, the chaos intensified. Her short-lived marriage in Las Vegas and her subsequent relationship with Kevin Federline became tabloid fodder for years. She was a young mother trying to raise 2 children while being chased by a pack of wolves. Every time she stepped out of her house, it was a battle. The world watched as she struggled with the demands of motherhood and the relentless scrutiny of her parenting. People weren't rooting for her anymore. They were waiting for her to fall. The narrative had shifted from admiration to a cruel brand of entertainment. She was no longer a person. She was a headline, and the humanity behind the music was being systematically stripped away by a culture that loved to watch icons crumble. Then came 2007, the year that changed everything. The images are burned into our collective memory. The shaved head, the umbrella striking the paparazzi car, the vacant stare. It was a cry for help that the world mistook for a spectacle. Looking back, it was the logical conclusion of years of psychological warfare waged by the media and the industry. Britney was a woman pushed to the absolute edge, stripped of her privacy and her agency. She wasn't crazy, she was exhausted. She was trying to take control of her own image by removing the hair that the world found so beautiful. It was an act of rebellion, but the world saw it as a breakdown, leading to her being forcibly taken into medical custody as the cameras rolled and the world watched in silence. Following her hospitalization, a legal maneuver was put in place that would define the next 13 years of her life: the conservatorship. Initially presented as a temporary measure to protect her and her assets, it quickly became a permanent cage. Her father, Jamie Spears, was granted near total control over her finances, her career, and even her personal medical decisions. The woman who was talented enough to perform for millions was deemed legally unfit to choose her own lawyer or even go for a drive without permission. She was a professional athlete on stage and a legal minor in her own home. The irony was chilling. Britney was working harder than ever, generating millions of dollars, yet she had no access to the money she earned. Under the strict control of the conservatorship, the circus era began. On the surface, Britney was back. She released hit albums, went on world tours, and secured a massive Las Vegas residency. To the casual observer, she was a success story of recovery. But behind the scenes, she was a prisoner. She was forced to perform even when she didn't want to, her every word scripted, her every move monitored. She was a high-functioning captive. She would spend hours on stage performing high-energy routines, only to return to a life where she couldn't even choose what to eat for dinner. The sparkle in her eyes was replaced by a professional mask, a shell of the girl who once loved the stage. For years, the public believed the official story, that the conservatorship was for her own good. But the fans, the ones who had been there since the beginning, started noticing things that didn't add up. Her social media posts seemed coded, her expressions in public appearances looked pained, and the Free Britney movement began as a small grassroots campaign on the internet. They were dismissed as conspiracy theorists at first, but they were the only ones truly listening to what she was trying to say. They analyzed her Instagram videos, her outfits, and her cryptic captions, convinced that she was signaling for help. Little did they know, the reality was even darker than they imagined, involving 24/7 surveillance and forced medication. The walls finally began to crumble in 2019 when Britney checked into a mental health facility under suspicious circumstances. An anonymous source on a fan podcast revealed that she was being held against her will because she refused to take certain medications. This was the spark that turned the #FreeBritney movement into a global firestorm. People around the world began to protest outside courthouses, demanding that her basic human rights be restored. The silence from her camp was deafening, but the voices of the public were getting louder. This wasn't just about a pop star anymore. It was about the legal system's failure to protect a vulnerable woman from exploitation by her own family. In June 2021, the world finally heard the truth from Britney's own mouth. In a stunning 24-minute court testimony, she broke her silence, describing the conservatorship as abusive and traumatizing. She revealed that she was forced to use an IUD to prevent her from having more children, that she was forced to work while sick, and that she felt like she was a victim of sex trafficking. Her voice was shaky but determined as she told the judge, "I just want my life back." The testimony sent shockwaves through the industry and the legal system. The facade was gone. The reality of her 13-year nightmare was laid bare for the entire world to see, and there was no turning back. The battle was far from over, but the momentum was unstoppable. New legal counsel was appointed, and her father was eventually suspended from his role. In November 2021, the miracle happened. A judge officially terminated the conservatorship after nearly 14 years. The celebrations outside the courthouse were historic. Britney was finally a free woman. She could drive her own car, use her own money, and make her own choices. But the victory was bittersweet. She had lost her entire 30s to a system that failed her, and the trauma of those years wouldn't disappear overnight. She had to learn how to live again in a world that had moved on without her, while she was frozen in time. Since regaining her freedom, Britney has used her voice in ways she never could before. Her memoir, The Woman in Me, became a bestseller, allowing her to tell her story on her own terms. She didn't hold back, detailing the betrayals of her family and the industry that exploited her. While some still criticize her social media presence or her unconventional behavior, they often forget that they are watching a woman heal from over a decade of captivity. She isn't performing for us anymore. She is living for herself. Her journey is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and a warning about the dangers of fame, greed, and the lack of protection for those in the spotlight. What really happened to Britney Spears wasn't just a breakdown, It was a systemic failure. It was the story of a girl who gave everything to the world, and in return, the world tried to take everything from her. But she didn't let them win. Today, she stands as a symbol of hope for anyone fighting for their own agency. She has reclaimed her name, her story, and her life. Her legacy is no longer just about the music or the scandals. It's about the strength it takes to break free from the cages that others build for us. Britney Spears is finally more than just a pop star. She is a survivor, reminding us all that it's never too late to take back your power. Britney's story is a powerful reminder to always look beneath the surface of fame and to advocate for the rights of those who cannot speak for themselves. Her journey from the top of the world to the depths of a legal prison and back to freedom is one for the history books. If you were moved by Britney's journey or want to see more deep dives into the hidden truths of Hollywood, make sure to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. What did you learn from Britney's story? Don't forget to subscribe to Hollywood Secrets TV and hit the bell icon so you never miss another shocking celebrity revelation. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more untold stories.